Admiral Kraz of the Nexar Dominion stood on the bridge of the Harbinger, his flagship's quantum displays casting a pale blue glow across his metallic scales. The Earth hung before him like a fragile blue marble, seemingly defenseless against his fleet of 300 warships. Intelligence suggested this was a pre-spacefaring civilization, barely able to reach their own moon. The conquest would be swift, another triumph for the expanding Dominion. "Begin the standard intimidation protocol," Kraz commanded, his voice resonating through the crystalline architecture of the bridge. "Let them witness our power before we demand their surrender." The fleet moved in perfect formation, their massive hulls reflecting starlight as they positioned themselves strategically around the planet. Each ship was a masterpiece of Nexar engineering, capable of reducing continents to ash. The humans' primitive sensors would be tracking them now, their leaders no doubt paralyzed with fear. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, mandibles clicking in confusion. "We're detecting no increased military activity, no emergency broadcasts, no mass panic on their communication channels." Kraz's outer membrane rippled with irritation. Every species showed fear when the Dominion arrived. It was universal, predictable, proper. "Show me their global communications." The displays shifted, showing streams of human media. News channels calmly reported the presence of unknown objects in orbit. Social networks buzzed with curiosity rather than terror. Some humans were even organizing observation parties to watch the fleet through telescopes. "Launch the warning salvo," Kraz ordered. "Target their largest military installations. Show them what they face." 100 energy beams lanced toward Earth's surface, each carrying enough power to vaporize a city. They never reached their targets. The beams simply vanished, as if absorbed by an invisible shield. But Earth showed no energy signatures consistent with defensive technology. "Impossible," Kraz whispered, his scales shifting to a pale green of uncertainty. "Full scan of the planet's defensive systems." "Sir," his science officer's voice quavered, "we're detecting no shields, no energy barriers, nothing that could have stopped our attack. The beams just ceased to exist 50 kilometers above the surface." A communication request flashed across the main display. Earth was hailing them, broadcasting on frequencies the humans shouldn't even know existed. The message was in perfect Nexar language. "Greetings, Admiral Kraz of the Nexar Dominion. This is Earth Defense Command. We've been expecting you. Perhaps we should discuss the interesting assumptions your civilization has made about Earth over the centuries." Kraz's scales rippled with disbelief. "How do they know my name? How are they speaking our language?" Before anyone could respond, new readings exploded across the tactical displays. Massive structures were materializing in orbit around Earth, installations that dwarfed the Nexar fleet. They seemed to fold into existence from nowhere, as if space itself was giving birth to them. "Sir," his tactical officer's voice cracked. "Those structures, they're reading as older than the planet itself. But that's impossible. They weren't there a moment ago." Another message from Earth. "Admiral, we want to be clear. We mean you no harm. Humanity has maintained our facade of technological primitivism for important reasons. Your arrival simply means it's time for that facade to end. Please stand by for a demonstration of why we chose to hide our true nature from the galaxy." The space around Kraz's fleet began to ripple like water. Ships started reporting strange readings. Time dilation effects, quantum fluctuations, reality distortions that their sensors couldn't properly process. The Harbinger's artificial gravity stuttered as space itself seemed to hiccup. "Full retreat," Kraz ordered, his scales now bone-white with fear. "Emergency fold space jump." But the fold space drives wouldn't engage. Something was preventing them from accessing the higher dimensions needed for faster-than-light travel. His fleet was trapped. The human transmission resumed, their tone almost apologetic. "Please remain calm, Admiral. What you're experiencing is a localized adjustment of quantum reality. We control the fundamental forces that your civilization is only beginning to discover. If you could see us as we truly are." The space around Earth seemed to shed a veil, like scales falling from Kraz's eyes. Where there had been a seemingly primitive planet, there now stood revealed a world transformed. Massive structures phased into view, architectural marvels that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Energy patterns that defied physics spiraled between orbital platforms that made his mighty fleet look like children's toys. By the first egg, Kraz's science officer whispered. Their entire planet was hidden behind some kind of reality distortion. Everything we thought we knew about them was a carefully constructed illusion. The human transmission continued. For 3,000 years, we've watched the galaxy's civilizations develop, hiding our true nature to avoid disrupting their natural evolution. But recent events have forced us to reconsider this policy. Admiral Kraz, your Dominion's expansion has brought us to a crossroads. We would prefer to proceed peacefully, but we need you to understand humanity's actual position in the galaxy. As if to emphasize their point, one of Earth's orbital platforms generated a field that caused a small moon to temporarily cease existing, only to reappear a moment later oriented differently. The casual display of power, the ability to simply edit reality itself, sent shudders through Kraz's entire crew. We invite you to send a diplomatic delegation to discuss terms, the humans concluded. We believe the Nexer Dominion can be a valuable partner in facing the challenges that lie ahead. But first, you needed to understand why we hid ourselves for so long. The galaxy isn't ready for some of the technologies we've discovered. We hope you can appreciate the responsibility that comes with such power. Kraz stared at the revealed Earth, his tactical mind finally processing the full implications. His fleet of 300 ships, the pride of the Dominion, had been rendered completely impotent by a civilization so advanced they had mastered the art of appearing primitive. Every scan they had ever taken of Earth had shown them exactly what humanity wanted them to see. Send word to the High Command, he ordered, his voice steady despite his inner turmoil. The galaxy as we know it is about to change. He watched as another orbital platform casually adjusted the local speed of light as a demonstration. And perhaps that's exactly what we needed. The diplomatic chamber within Earth's quantum nexus station defied Kraz's understanding of physics. Surfaces shifted and flowed, existing in multiple states simultaneously. The human delegation sat across from him. Three figures who appeared deceptively ordinary, yet their very presence seemed to ripple through reality. Director Sarah Chen, Earth's chief diplomat, gestured to a holographic display that materialized between them. The silent protocol began in 2157, when humanity made our first breakthrough in quantum manipulation. We discovered something that changed everything. Reality itself was programmable. The display showed Earth's history, but not as Kraz knew it. Beneath the surface of human civilization's apparent development lay another timeline. Hidden cities that existed between moments of time, energy networks that drew power from probability itself, and machines that treated the laws of physics as mere suggestions. We faced a choice, Chen continued. Reveal our discoveries and potentially destabilize every developing civilization in the galaxy, or become silent guardians, watching and waiting as others found their own paths to the stars. Kraz's scales shifted to deep blue, indicating deep thought. But the energy requirements alone, maintaining such a deception across an entire planet. Energy. Chen smiled. Admiral, we don't use energy the way you understand it. We learn to fold space around our power needs, to tuck our true civilization into the quantum foam between moments. What your sensors detected as a primitive power grid was simply what we allowed you to see. The display shifted, showing the true Earth. A world transformed by technologies that made Kraz's mighty fleet look like stone tools. Massive structures phased in and out of conventional reality, drawing power from the quantum substrate of existence itself. 3,000 years, Kraz whispered. You've maintained this deception for 3,000 years. But why reveal yourselves now? Chen's expression grew serious. Something is coming, Admiral. We've detected disturbances in the quantum fabric of space-time. patterns that suggest an entity or force moving between galaxies, consuming civilizations whole. We need allies who can comprehend what we're facing. A new image appeared, a visualization of space-time that made Kraz's scientific training scream in protest. Vast, dark patterns moved between the stars, leaving behind regions where reality itself seemed corrupted. Your Dominion's expansion forced our hand, Chen explained. We couldn't risk you stumbling into this threat unprepared. But we also saw potential in your civilization. Despite your militant expansion, you've shown wisdom in governance and respect for technological development. Warning signals flashed across the station. Kraz recognized the energy signatures, more Dominion ships emerging from fold space. The High Command had sent reinforcements. Your leaders are frightened, Chen observed calmly. They're deploying your entire Third Fleet, 1,500 warships. Shall we show them why that's unnecessary? She made a simple gesture. The space around Earth rippled like disturbed water. The newly arrived Dominion ships found themselves suddenly relocated, now orbiting Jupiter, their weapons and drive systems temporarily transformed into elaborate abstract sculptures. That's impossible, Kraz breathed. You can't just. Reality doesn't work that way. Reality works however we define it to work, Admiral. Within limits, of course. There are rules even we must follow, laws of existence so fundamental that breaking them would unravel the universe. But everything else. She smiled. Everything else is negotiable. The display shifted again, showing human ships emerging from their quantum hiding places, vessels that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, driven by engines that rewrote physics on the fly. We're offering the Dominion a choice, Chen continued. Join us. Learn from us. Help us prepare for what's coming. We've kept the galaxy's civilizations at arm's length for millennia, but that luxury is ending. The threat we've detected will arrive within a century, and facing it will require a united galaxy. Kraz watched as the human ships performed maneuvers that violated every principle of physics he knew. They didn't move through space so much as rearrange it around themselves, treating the fundamental forces of the universe as an artist treats clay. How many other secrets have you kept? He asked. How many other revelations wait to shock us? Chen's expression turned enigmatic. Admiral, what you're seeing now is just the surface. We've had 3,000 years to explore the true nature of reality. The technologies we're showing you are what we consider safe to share. The rest, she gestured, and for a brief moment, Kraz glimpsed something that his mind couldn't properly process. Suggestions of dimensions beyond normal space-time, of powers that dwarfed even the reality warping abilities they'd demonstrated. The rest stays hidden, she concluded. For now, some knowledge must be earned slowly, carefully. We learned that lesson the hard way. Kraz understood, then why humanity had hidden for so long. They hadn't been protecting themselves from the galaxy. They'd been protecting the galaxy from knowledge it wasn't ready to handle. The implications staggered him. I'll speak with the High Command, he said finally. But I suspect they already know their answer. One doesn't reject the guidance of gods. Chen's laugh was surprisingly warm. Oh, Admiral, we're not gods. We're simply humans who learn to read the universe's source code. The real question is, are you ready to learn how to read it too? The Nexer High Command made their decision within hours of receiving Kraz's report. Their response came in the form of 10,000 warships emerging from fold space around Earth. Not for negotiation, for conquest. Humans had hidden their true nature from the galaxy. Therefore, they couldn't be trusted. The Dominion would take their secrets by force. Fleet Admiral Vex's orders were absolute. Secure Earth's quantum manipulation technology at any cost. The human response began subtly. Reality around Earth started to thicken like cooling glass. Nexer sensors reported increasing difficulty measuring basic physical constants. Space itself seemed to be changing its properties. They're altering the fundamental forces, Vex's science officer reported, mandibles clicking with stress. Gravity, electromagnetism. the strong and weak nuclear forces, they're all becoming negotiable within their sphere of influence. Vex watched as his fleet's weapons discharge, only for the energy beams to curve in impossible ways, forming complex geometric patterns in space before dissipating harmlessly. Their most powerful weapons had been transformed into an art exhibition. Earth's orbital platforms pulsed with energies that defied measurement. Space rippled and folded around them as humanity's hidden fleet emerged from quantum storage. Their ships violated every principle of naval architecture. Some were perfect spheres of shifting crystal. Others seemed to exist as pure mathematical concepts given form. "Begin the assault," Vex commanded. "All ships, full advance." The Nexer fleet surged forward, only to discover that forward had become a subjective concept. Space wrapped around their formation like a Klein bottle. Ships found themselves flying in loops that somehow ended where they began, yet also somewhere entirely different. A transmission cut through the chaos, broadcast on all frequencies. The Dominion's response is disappointing, but not unexpected. You seek to take by force what can only be earned through understanding. Allow us to demonstrate why this was unwise. Reality shuddered. A third of the Nexer fleet simply vanished. Their component atoms temporarily redistributed across several quantum states. They reappeared moments later, but their weapons and drive systems had been fundamentally altered. Now they produced bubbles of localized poetry instead of destructive energy. "This is impossible," Vex whispered. "No civilization can have this level of control over reality itself. You still think in terms of technological advancement." The human transmission resumed. "What you're witnessing isn't technology as you understand it. We've moved beyond machines that manipulate reality. We've become reality's collaborators." The remaining Nexer ships found their hostile programming dissolving, replaced by an overwhelming sense of cosmic perspective. It wasn't mind control. It was the forced perception of truth on a quantum level. Each crew member suddenly understood their place in a universe far stranger and more magnificent than they had imagined. Vex watched helplessly as his mighty fleet was rendered irrelevant not through destruction, but through transformation. Ships began moving in patterns that formed a vast, interlocking dance in space. The weapons that should have devastated Earth were now creating crystalline structures in orbit. Beautiful, mathematically perfect formations that sang with quantum harmonies. "Your civilization has great potential," the human voice continued. "But you must learn to see beyond the paradigm of conquest. The universe is not a resource to be claimed. It's a mystery to be understood." The space around Earth rippled one final time. When it settled, the Nexer fleet found itself arranged in a perfect spherical formation. Every ship was intact, but fundamentally changed. Their quantum drives now operated on principles that would take Nexer scientists centuries to understand. "Consider this a gift," the transmission concluded. "Your ships can now perceive a fraction of what we see. Use this new perspective wisely. The galaxy's civilizations must unite, or what comes next will consume us all." Vex stared at the sensor readings from his transformed fleet. Where once they had been instruments of war, they were now something else. Tools for comprehending a universe far stranger than anyone had imagined. The Dominion had come to conquer Earth, only to find itself elevated to a new level of existence. "Stand down all weapons," he ordered, knowing the futility of resistance. "Signal our acceptance of their terms." As his ships slowly regained conventional propulsion, Vex understood the true lesson humanity had delivered. The Dominion had thought themselves masters of space and time. Humans had shown them they were barely beginning to understand the first page of reality's true manual. The counterstrike was complete, one without a single death. Earth had defeated them not through superior firepower, but by forcibly expanding their understanding of what was possible. The real question was, what other revelations awaited? The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 300 civilizations gathered to witness humanity's first official address to the galaxy. The Nexer Dominion's entire fleet had been transformed. their defeats spreading ripples of fear and wonder through interstellar society. Director Chen stood before the assembled delegates, her image projected across thousands of worlds. Behind her, a display showed Earth shedding its final veils of deception. The planet's true form emerged, a world transformed by technologies that treated universal constants as variables. For 3 millennia, we have watched and waited, Chen began. We discovered the quantum nature of reality not through gradual advancement, but through a singular moment of understanding. Reality, we learned, is not fixed. It is a consensus, a collaborative framework that can be adjusted. The chamber erupted in overlapping translations as each species tried to process this revelation. Chen gestured, and the space above the council chamber transformed. Delegates found themselves experiencing multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their minds expanded to perceive quantum possibilities. What you're feeling now is a fraction of how we perceive reality, Chen continued. We didn't develop better technology. We fundamentally changed our relationship with existence itself, but this knowledge came with a price. The display shifted, showing Earth's hidden history. Early experiments in quantum manipulation had nearly unraveled the solar system. Entire cities had vanished into probability cascades. Humanity had learned harsh lessons about the responsibility that came with rewriting reality's rules. We chose isolation to protect both ourselves and you, Chen explained. Some knowledge must be earned gradually, or it becomes destructive. We maintained our facade of primitive development while watching civilization after civilization reach for the stars. We helped subtly, invisibly, nudging quantum probabilities to prevent catastrophic accidents, stabilizing reality around dangerous experiments. A Nexer delegate rose, their scales shimmering with confusion. The entertainment transmissions we detected from Earth, the accurate descriptions of advanced physics in your fiction, these were preparations. Chen nodded. We seeded ideas throughout our public culture, preparing humanity for the eventual revelation of our true nature. This deception required our entire civilization's participation, a cultural project spanning centuries. The chamber's quantum displays shifted again, revealing the true scope of human achievement. Vast networks of reality-altering machines existed in spaces between conventional dimensions, cities that operated on principles that made advanced physics look like simple arithmetic, power sources that didn't harvest energy, but rather negotiated with probability itself for desired outcomes. But now something approaches that forces our hand, Chen continued. Our quantum sensors have detected distortions. Something moves between the galaxies, consuming civilizations whole, not through conventional warfare, but by corrupting the quantum foundation of reality itself. The display showed the threat. Vast, dark patterns in spacetime, regions where physics itself began to unravel. The assembled delegates watched in horror as entire star systems winked out of existence in the path of this approaching anomaly. We reveal ourselves now because facing this threat requires a united galaxy, Chen explained. We offer to share our understanding, not our most advanced capabilities, but enough to help you comprehend what we face. The Nexer fleet's transformation was a demonstration of what's possible when a civilization begins to truly understand reality's malleable nature. A Centaurian delegate spoke, their crystalline form vibrating with concern. You speak of sharing knowledge, yet you transformed an entire fleet without consent. How can we trust beings with such power? Chen's response was gentle but firm. We transformed their weapons into tools of understanding. We could have eliminated them entirely. Instead, we chose to elevate. This is the philosophy that has guided us for 3,000 years, not to dominate, but to illuminate. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't hidden out of fear or weakness, but out of a deep understanding of responsibility. They had watched younger civilizations develop, intervening only to prevent disasters, waiting for the right moment to reveal the universe's deeper nature. The choice before you is simple, Chen concluded. Join us in preparing for what comes. Learn to see reality as we do, not as a fixed set of laws, but as a conversation between consciousness and possibility. The threat we face cannot be defeated through conventional means. It must be understood and then unmade. Above the chamber, space itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the galaxy's response to this revelation of humanity's true nature and the greater revelation of what lurked between the stars. 6 months after humanity's revelation to the galaxy, the first waves of the quantum anomaly reached the Andromeda Arm. Entire solar systems vanished as reality itself unraveled in its path. The galaxy's civilizations, united by necessity and guided by human knowledge, prepared for their greatest challenge. Admiral Kraz stood on the bridge of the transformed Harbinger, now a quantum observatory rather than a warship. The ship's sensors, enhanced by human insights, perceived reality on levels that would have been incomprehensible months ago. The anomaly approached like a tide of nature, consuming dimensionality itself. All vessels in position, he reported. The combined fleet of the galaxy's civilizations had gathered. Millions of ships transformed by human quantum engineering. Each now served as a node in a vast network designed to stabilize reality against the approaching chaos. Director Chen's voice came through on quantum frequencies that bypassed normal spacetime. Remember, this isn't a battle we can win through force. The anomaly isn't alive or dead. It's a cascading failure in the quantum substrate of existence. We must rewrite reality's source code faster than it can be corrupted. The fleet formed a hyperdimensional lattice, each ship connecting to others across multiple planes of existence. Humans had taught them to see reality's underlying pattern, to understand existence as a dialogue rather than a fixed set of rules. The anomaly struck first, reality dissolving at its touch. Ships that once would have been instantly destroyed instead shifted between states of being, their crews protected by quantum uncertainty fields. They weren't fighting the darkness. They were redefining the space it tried to corrupt. Phase 2, Chen commanded. The fleet's quantum network activated, each ship becoming a reality anchor. Human technology, merged with the unique insights of 100 alien civilizations, created a new kind of defense. They weren't trying to stop the anomaly. They were teaching space-time itself how to resist corruption. The darkness recoiled as it encountered space that refused to unravel. Reality, strengthened by the combined will and understanding of the galaxy's species, held firm. The anomaly's advance slowed, then stopped, confronted by existence that actively rejected its influence. Now, Chen's voice rang across dimensions. Everyone together. Remember your training. Don't fight the darkness. Rewrite it. Reality is a conversation, and we're changing the terms. The combined fleet, guided by human knowledge, but powered by the diverse perspectives of countless civilizations, began their final gambit. Each ship became a quantum compiler, redefining the basic parameters of existence. The anomaly wasn't destroyed. It was transformed, its chaotic energy converted into new possibilities. Where the darkness had threatened to unravel reality, new dimensions blossomed. The combined knowledge of the galaxy's species, led by humanity's deep understanding of quantum manipulation, had turned devastation into creation. As the transformed anomaly settled into stable patterns, Kraz realized the true significance of humanity's long isolation. They hadn't hidden out of fear or arrogance, but out of profound responsibility. They had waited until the galaxy's civilizations could contribute their own unique perspectives to the understanding of reality. The threat is contained, Chen announced, but our work is just beginning. We've glimpsed only the surface of reality's true nature. The galaxy's species, working together, can perceive and understand far more than any civilization alone. The combined fleet began to disperse, but not to return to their old divisions. The experience had transformed them all. The Nexer Dominion's dreams of conquest had been replaced by an unquenchable thirst for understanding. Other civilizations, once focused on accumulating power or resources, now saw the universe as an endless frontier of possibility. Humanity had hidden their true nature for 3,000 years, watching and waiting for the right moment to share their knowledge. When crisis forced their hand, They didn't conquer or dominate. They elevated, taught, and united. The galaxy had faced extinction and emerged, not just survived, but transformed. Kraz watched Earth's quantum signature pulsing in his ship's enhanced sensors. The planet still held secrets, knowledge that the galaxy wasn't ready to handle. But now there was a path forward, a way for civilizations to grow together in understanding. The silent protocol had ended. In its place, a new protocol emerged, one of shared discovery, of collaborative exploration of reality's deepest mysteries. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was precisely what humanity had spent 3 millennia preparing for.